I'm pleased to say Peter is back with us. Peter, we lost you there for a second, my friend. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent stuff. Obviously we've been talking, as you can well imagine, on this show for several hours about Sir Alex Ferguson, his legacy, who's going to replace him. Obviously you work out in China. Just give us, if you can, paint the picture of how things have been received in the Far East and where you are, just how the whole story has broken and how it's gone down.
Well, it doesn't take long these days for such monumental news in sport or anywhere else really to sweep across the globe, and it was no different in China. And yes, of course, I mean, Alex Ferguson is somebody who is respected worldwide, and that kind of news has really made all the back pages, some of the front pages here as well, been carrying it, and also as well many of the forums have been discussing his legacy, many of the sporting forums, and certainly the Chinese media has been reacting like the media all across the world. And I think with the rising popularity of the game here as well, it's probably made it a bit more headway, definitely the story over here.
And obviously we know that several Barclays Premier League clubs are keen to court the international market these days, aren't they? And particularly emerging markets like India and China as well. So how do Manchester United as a whole sort of rate compared to other clubs in trying to build their brand in your part of the world?
Well, absolutely. You see more and more Manchester United shirts. What has to be said about Beijing, for a start, is there aren't many football fields. I think it's got one of the lowest percentages of football fields per capita of population. There's only about 30 in the whole
really?
in the whole city, which it just seems insane. But I know where some of them are. One of them is very close to where I work. And as I've been walking past these days, you do see more Manchester United shirts. If you go to certain parts of the city as well, where people are doing sporting activities or people relaxing in the parks, you'll see more as well. But that's also not just Manchester United. Like you said, there are the other clubs, Premier League clubs, that are courting the Chinese yuan over here. That's Chelsea, of course. Not much from Arsenal, has to be said. Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United seem to be the popular ones. And of course, they're all eager to come out and play over here, as Manchester United did last year. They played a couple of matches. They played Shanghai over here, and they brought out the whole team, and they did a number of training sessions, which were very, very popular with the Chinese public as a way to promote the Manchester United brand over here.
So is there a growing kind of knowledge base within the Chinese footballing public and the following kind of fraternity as well? Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson, as a monumental and successful figure, would be well known worldwide, but in terms of exactly what he did and how he did it and so on, would that be something that has been increasingly sort of popular?
Yes, I think one thing we have to remember here in China as well, there's a great respect for age. And anybody who's been doing something for any particular length of time is generally held in very high esteem here in China, not just in football, but in many professions as well. So they know that 26, 27 years is a very long time. He's really one of the few figures, the few names that spring to mind about English football outside of David Beckham. Should I say British football? David Beckham would be the big name, and of course he's well known as the man who brought David Beckham up, who from a fledgling kid at Manchester United, who made him into the global star that he is today. So Alex Ferguson is very much seen as this father of this massive global star. David Beckham, who here is just everywhere. They can't get enough of him in China.
And of course, Fergie gave him the famous hairdryer treatment as well, didn't he? And accidentally hit him with a boot and cut his eye. We remember all that at the beginning of the end, really, for Becks, of course, with his time at Manchester United. I suppose when you look at Chinese society and the great respect that is shown, it's interesting, isn't it, that someone like Sir Alex had so many different facets and sides to him. A great family man and a very magnanimous and kind man by all accounts away from football, but such a ruthless man on and off the field, which you need to be that successful.
Yes, and I think that those sort of qualities certainly garner a lot of respect in this part of the world, particularly considering the big troubles that they've had in Chinese football and trying to get the game going over here. A number of corruption scandals, and it's been quite a difficult number of years. And I think a character such as Alex Ferguson, held in such high esteem internationally, in spite of the difficult parts of his personality as well, which many would say contributed towards his success as well, we could say. I think somebody like Alex Ferguson, the work that he's done, the players that he's brought on, contrasts starkly to the situation of the officials and over in this part of the world at the moment. And I think he's seen as a very great example of the way football should be, perhaps not the way it has been in China over the last 5 years or so.
Interesting. So how would we see Manchester United's popularity evolving from here? Obviously, he is going after 26 highly successful years in charge at Old Trafford. We fully expect David Moyes to be appointed at some stage in the next sort of 24, 36 hours as the new Manchester United manager. Do you feel passion and following for the club in China will continue unabashed?
Well, David Moyes, we can't really claim he's a name that's on everybody's lips here in China. Certainly, though, the Chinese media, they're very meticulous, and they will be doing their best to inform about just who this man is, his record at Everton, of, should we say, longevity, really, is his record at Everton rather than trophies. And I think the simple fact that Alex Ferguson himself seems to have been the major player here in pointing the finger or anointing his successor will go a long way towards, should we say, improving his image over here. But really, with Alex Ferguson or with David Moyes, we're pretty sure that they're still going to be courting the Chinese fans over here. Manchester United is very far from diminishing as a brand in this part of the world.
Thank you very much indeed. Peter Smith with his reaction globally to Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. Time to just talk a little bit more rugby union now. Of course, the England...